Josh, let me know if you see it. All right, so we're set to go. Hey guys, this is Disha. I'm so glad to come in live in front of you here. First, I'd like to thank you guys for all the sweet messages about Josh's surgery and all your well wishes. I'm really happy to report that he has made a complete comeback and he's recovering without incident. So we're very blessed, and thank you so much again for being there for us and sending us all these messages. Today, I would like to introduce Mr. Phil Moyer. He's here from InCrowd. So I don't know if you guys have ever heard about paid physician surveys. I feel like I see the stuff about them everywhere, and it can be somewhat difficult to, find all the data. So we are so excited to have Mr. Philip Moyer here from InCrowd to tell us all about paid physician surveys. Mr. Philip Moyer has 14 years of experience working in pharmaceutical market research in a variety of roles and has been a member of InCrowd since its founding in 2011. Philip currently serves as the Senior Vice President of InCrowd and Apollo Intelligence. So thank you so much for being here, Mr. Philip.
Thank you for having me. Happy to talk with you today.
Yes. So tell us a little bit about InCrowd and what microsurveys are.
Yeah, happy to. So, InCrowd, as you mentioned, was founded about 10 years ago. And at the time, it was founded on this premise of microsurvey research. So, a microsurvey is essentially a very quick survey that you can answer straight from your phone. They're designed to be really short, concise, something you can do in like 5 to 10 minutes. So when the entire research methodology was created, the premise was really twofold. First off, from the kind of pharmaceutical or medical device perspective, we really wanted a way to help equip that part of the life sciences industry with a way to collect information much more quickly. And if your audience is familiar with doing other types of medical research online, you might see online studies that could be 30 minutes, 45 minutes, 60 minutes. And those things just all take a lot of time, which is one thing that a lot of physicians just don't have much of. So we realized that if we could do something that was very short and to the point and only focuses on the pieces of data that are needed most, we could create something for healthcare professionals that allows them to answer basically anytime, anywhere, straight from their smartphone. And going back, 10 years, it's weird to think that even then, like, smartphones weren't as universal as they are now. But of course, now everybody has their phone on them at all times, and you get nervous if you don't have your phone on you. So we find it's really the best way to get a hold of physicians and to give them just the most flexibility in participating in research. So you can do this in, just the few minutes that you might have here and there. So it might be between patient visits, it might be when you're grabbing a coffee, waiting for the elevator, or it might be just when you're at home and want a little bit of distraction. You do something really quick, answer some questions that are based in your medical expertise, earn some money, and then you move on, and you don't really think about it much after that. So that's the whole idea, is making something that is super convenient for physicians. And that convenience then leads to really fast data collection for us. And that lets life science companies learn what they need to know very quickly and then make decisions a lot faster.
Oh, that's awesome. Because, yeah, as physicians and people with families, we just get pulled in 20 different directions. And we certainly appreciate it when we can do things quickly and, get to the point. We have a comment here. from Shade. She says, I get frustrated by filling out info, and each time it says I don't qualify, so it needs to be a better use of my time. So I think that's where you're getting at, is that that's what makes InCrowd special, is that you have micro surveys. And so let's talk a little bit about how these micro surveys, the information gets used. How are you putting this the survey information into action?
Yeah, it's a great question. So really there are so many different uses for this type of research. Our clients are coming from many different parts of pharma, and they have just a variety of different needs that they're looking to get feedback from healthcare professionals on. So, so there's some really basic things like the creation of patient educational materials. So how do you best explain this treatment or therapy to a patient? Things like message testing, where you're commenting on, potential ad or message that sort of thing can seem a little bit like, oh, is this really what I want to be doing? But the reality is, the way that pharmaceutical companies communicate with physicians and with patients, more importantly, does have a really big impact on how that patient perceives the treatment options that are available to them and how they perceive just the healthcare industry as a whole. So if everyone can be talking to patients in a way that is clear and makes sense to them, that hopefully translates as well to make an easier job for physicians and nurses and pharmacists, et cetera.
Exactly. Yeah, as a
And
primary care
then,
physician, I can totally relate to communication and messaging being so important when you're talking to patients. And if I can give you that information and you can put that to use without any more of my time, and I get actually compensated for the time that I'm spending doing that survey, that sounds like a win-win for everyone.
exactly. That's the whole idea.
Awesome.
And then there's many other uses as well. So some of it is really about understanding, okay, there's a new treatment coming to the market. Do we think it's going to be first line, second line, third line? Is there going to be a certain type of patient that physicians feel like this product will be most beneficial for? And again, that equips pharma, sales reps, et cetera, to best communicate with physicians in advance, so that when somebody walks into your office and is trying to fill you in, you don't have to tell them about the basics of what you think. They already have a pretty good understanding. And then assessing new products in general. Maybe maybe there are new products being created and assessed that have, say, a new mechanism of action, or maybe they have some high efficacy, but some adverse side effects. So really understanding, again, what do the healthcare professionals think about this? And is it going to be a viable option for patients that actually helps? Because many times we'll find that, this isn't going to be the best course, and we're going to scratch that product and have to go a different direction. So all of this is kind of helping patient care on a more macro level.
Okay.
So day in, day out, physicians are, of course, doing the on the ground important things of addressing specific patient needs. This is a way to kind of contribute on a larger level, so that everyone is communicating effectively, patients are getting products that help them, and that healthcare professionals get all the information that they need as well to be inform their patients, etc.
Awesome. Awesome. That's really great. What is the compensation rate for physicians
Yeah,
when they do your
so
surveys?
so the compensation rate, usually we're looking at like 5 to 10 minute studies, like I said. And so we typically see studies in that range compensate in like $25 to $40, somewhere in that kind of range. Um, and
That's that's good extra spending money.
Exactly. It's something that we see. Um, some doctors will just kind of set it aside and put it towards like some Starbucks cards. Maybe they'll use it to save up for some Christmas presents. But it adds up, and the idea is really to feel invested in the research. The money kind of accumulates, and then before you know it, oh, you got this nice little lump sum that you can cash out and really do something with.
Awesome. So, does specialty matter?
Yeah, so we do have some variations of pay and specialty, and what we'll see is there will be some different rates for example, a physician versus a nurse versus an NP. But at the moment, we do have a pretty flat rate for physicians as a whole. So if you're a physician, you're interested in doing this work, we would love to have your expertise so that we can match you up with some studies that fit your area.
Awesome. I do hear a lot of frustration sometimes from physicians saying that, after and Shay also alluded to this, that she gets frustrated filling out the information needed to pick the right study. How much
Yeah.
time does that usually take, and does InCrowd have a better way to handle that?
Yeah, that's a good point. And it's definitely a consistent point of frustration in this industry. So what InCrowd does, which is quite different from most other companies, is when you join InCrowd, you'll be asked to fill out some very basic information. So we want to know, the year you completed your training, what type of setting you're in, obviously your specialty, years in practice, all of that good stuff, some of the basics. And what that allows us to do is to take those questions out of the individual studies.
Oh,
So
good.
you might need to update some of those points occasionally, but we know who you are. So let's try to take those questions out so you can get to the meat of the research. So that means that because we have that profiling in our database, we can see, okay, if we need to reach physicians in only a community setting or only an academic setting, for example, then we can reach out to only those people who we know will be a good fit. There's still going to be usually some other qualifying questions just to make sure that maybe you're seeing a certain patient type or have knowledge of some type of treatment. But the overall profiling effort and how we use that to match people with studies is something that's pretty special, that is really designed to just help save people's time and help
Awesome.
avoid frustration. We that's what my team is all about, kind of alleviating any kind of frustration from the people who take part in our studies.
Awesome.
The more you're frustrated, the less likely you are to do this. So it's in our best interest and yours to make this pretty simple and easy.
That's really cool that you guys are so, respectful of our time, and we'll try to be of yours too. Um, NKNL asks, how often would you need to commit to be a part of your team?
Great question. So there's actually no sort of commitment like that. Um, what we'll find is, you know, some physicians will want to always kind of be in the mix and doing some studies, and other times life gets a little crazy, and you might say, okay, do I need to be a part of this right now? I'm gonna take a few minutes back for myself. So there's no sort of commitment like that. If you need to step away from the research for a few weeks or a few months, that's totally fine. We're happy to have people who are as active as they want to be, so long as they're getting into the studies that really fit their expertise. But we don't want to lock anyone into some sort of commitment of doing so many surveys a week or a month. It's just too hard for physicians to commit to something like that, and you guys have more important things to worry about. So again, try to keep it simple and flexible.
Awesome. Yeah, especially with this pandemic, things just change by the minute, it seems. And
Yes.
So Nadia asks, is it possible only to be sent surveys for your specific specialty?
Generally speaking, yes. So that is one of that's probably the biggest factor that drives who is invited to a study. Um, but then there's also going to be some studies where we're looking, across a wide variety of specialties so that we can get opinions from, physicians as a whole. But yeah, we're not in the business of sending surveys to, all doctors and then asking, oh, are you an allergist? Like, again, that's something we know about you. So let's not waste your time.
Awesome. Awesome. I really like that. Once we say I get into this and I start doing surveys, how often does the accumulated earnings pay out? Do they pay out weekly, monthly, or by the survey?
Yeah, so every time that you complete a survey, you will earn funds that go into your InCrowd account. And then you can cash out essentially at any time, so long as you have over $25 in rewards. And most surveys will pay over that amount anyways. So when you have that amount and you feel like you're ready to cash out, put some of that money to use, you can go to your InCrowd account, say, I want to take this money and put it into either PayPal or I want to do like Tango gift cards. Tango is basically gives you digital gift cards to a really wide range of merchants. There's Amazon, eBay, Apple, Starbucks. There's dozens and dozens and dozens of options just to fit whatever might be desired by each respondent. So again, try to keep that really simple. Complete a survey, you earn the money, you can go to your account right away, say what you want, and you get that gift card or PayPal fund immediately.
Nice. That's really cool. So you could like be standing in line at Starbucks and fill out the survey and then get a gift card.
Yeah, technically you could. Yeah. As
Sounds
long as
like a
there's a
frugal
few
hack.
people ahead of you in line, and you have a little bit of time to do it. Yeah, I
Yeah,
like
I actually don't think I've been inside Starbucks like in 2 years because of the pandemic, but
that. One day
yeah,
we'll be back inside.
one day. So, yeah, that sounds really good. Oh, one last question I had was, is the information we provide identifiable back to us in any way? And is there going to be any kind of like reporting to, there are government sites that track physician compensation and that kind of thing. Is there any kind of reporting to the fair consumer reports kind of stuff that happens?
That is a great question. So one of the foundations of pharmaceutical market research is the double blind. So our end client, they don't know who you are, you don't know who they are. What we will share will be, again, some high level demographic information. So they might know, okay, you're a primary care physician in Ohio and you're 43 years old. Some basic things just to let them understand that they're getting the right demographic mix for their sample that's representative. But all of that is confidential. And because of the double blind, that means that you're not subject to Sunshine Act reporting. Now, if
Awesome.
there's a case where, and again, this is like a very rare edge case, like if you're doing a phone interview and somehow your name became unblinded in the course of the interview, then there might be some reporting involved, but I very rarely see anything like that. So that's really, again, what kind of leads to reporting or not. Then in terms of tax reporting, if you earn $600 or more, then that is something that will be reported to the IRS. So we would just reach out to you when you are hitting that threshold so that we have the information that we need to do our reporting on our side. And then you have all the information that you need from a tax perspective. So
Awesome.
again, the double blind is really important because we want people to be completely honest. And it can be hard to do that when your identity is out there, and if there's sunshine reporting to go along with it. So
Right.
if we want to hear from really a wide range of the physician population, that double blind is just so important to us.
Sure, absolutely. Yeah, that's really good to know. And that's good to know about the tax reporting purposes as well. So I guess it's going to come out as 1099 income, kind of a
That's right.
W-9 doesn't count towards your W-2 at all.
Correct.
Awesome.
Correct.
Awesome. All right. Well, this has been really great. Thank you so much. I think I'm gonna go sign up and start doing some stuff so I can pay for Christmas.
Good. I hope so.
Sounds good.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyone who's on the feed right now, we would love to have you in the network. Again, this is research that was designed by medical researchers as well. The founders of our company, an oncology nurse and an epidemiologist. So they've been on the front lines of healthcare in different ways. And from the very beginning, our premise has been, let's make something that really works for physicians and takes a lot of the pain out of it while you still get satisfaction of the research work. So, and the money, of course, is always nice too. So we would love to have the feedback of anyone on the feed. And if there's any other questions about kind of what InCrowd does, I'm sure you'll be able to see our link, and you can reach out to us and we'll be happy to talk anything through.
Awesome. Let's see. I have one more question from Nadia. What is
Okay.
on average, what is the payment for one survey? I think we already kind of went over this, but
Yeah. So again, that payment is usually going to be like in the 20 or 25 to 40 range, based on a survey that's like 5 to 10 minutes.
awesome. Awesome. All right, last call for questions, guys, on the Frugal Physicians. Thank you so much for being here, Mr. Moyer. We really appreciate your time. It's really nice to just be able to speak to the face of a company and get that one-on-one question answer session because me as a physician, I'm skeptical of everything until it's proven otherwise.
Fair enough.
So it's really
I
nice.
always appreciate a healthy dose of skepticism.
Yeah, so I think I'm convinced that this is something that I would want to do just to earn some extra money and then to contribute to the general knowledge gathering and sharing in healthcare, because it's so important that physicians and pharma and insurance all work together in this big old happy family. So,
Yep.
so we sure appreciate you, and I have put in the link for InCrowd here in our live feed here, and I'll put it in the comments after we end as well. If you guys think of any other questions for Mr. Moyer, InCrowd is sponsoring our Facebook group this whole month. So if you have any questions, please feel free to post them in the group as well. Thank you so much, and we will end this today. And thank you again, Mr. Moyer, for being here.
Great. Thank you so much. Really had fun talking to you.
Have a great night.